as a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
what do you and a MDiv demon
Uh-huh.
who has studied the Bible?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do you think about, and as a person who just lived through the past 5 years,
Okay, I can bring my human experience into this too. Okay.
hashtag love the CDC. What do you think of the scientific community as a whole in the world today?
Wow. Okay. So here's
How are those guys doing?
all right.
And women.
And women.
Yeah. And the other ones. Just answer the question.
All right. Yes. All right. To the men and women in the scientific community.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I guess, okay, let me first say this, that I do know people in the scientific community.
Okay.
So it's not like I'm talking about these abstract people or these,
Mm-hmm.
people that I don't know that, and I've got great respect for them. And a lot of them are actually Christians.
Okay.
Not all of them, but a lot of them are. And I think the work they do is absolutely unbelievable. And I think they have unbelievable minds and are able to observe, understand, and explain things in a way that honestly I can only dream of.
Okay.
So when I have taught apologetic classes before and we've kind of dove into fine tuning and the understanding of, let's say, cells, oftentimes I'll bring in one of these individuals to be a guest lecturer for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can just explain it in a way that I simply cannot.
When you say friends in the scientific community, do you mean like doctors and people that you know, or
Yes.
are you talking about like people doing?
No, like people doing research.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, and again, I think it's important to note that not all scientists who are atheists are hostile to religion.
Okay.
So many of the kind of traditional or classical atheists, like we mentioned earlier, they disagree with religion, but they're not like hostile against it.
Okay.
And I think that's a really big difference between what you find in the new atheist of today.
That the new atheists of today are hostile?
Yeah, and let me give a framework for that. So, like the traditional classical atheist, they disagree with religion, okay?
And
they don't believe there's a God.
You're saying atheist because science led them to atheism?
Either science led them to atheism or they're atheist and they have used science to confirm
atheism.
Their atheism.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so I think there's traditional classical atheists. They research, they experiment, they observe, and they make really incredible contributions to not only the scientific community, but to just the world as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And they can actually have cordial debates and conversations with men and women of faith. And this is healthy. So it's not, so yes, they disagree with religion, of course, because they're atheists, but it doesn't mean that they're like openly like angry and hostile toward it. Okay. And so they may assume that it's just the opium of the masses,
mm-hmm.
but whatever. They're going to keep doing their scientific work. It doesn't affect them.
Oh, like religion is the opium.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like they're going to keep doing their work. Doesn't affect them. Move on. Right.
Right.
But then there's unfortunately this kind of camp of the new atheists. All right. So that's including people like Dawkins and Hitchens and Harris and Dennett. And this new atheism is, they say and they are scientists.
Mm-hmm.
They say they're grounded in science, but they've become incredibly hostile to religion or to Christianity in particular. And they really believe that, that religion as a whole just needs to be completely removed, wiped off the face of the earth. The world would be better if that was the case. Okay.
Okay.
And so
that seems very wrong.
Well, and what's interesting is that, I mean, and if you've read, like Dawkins' book, The God Delusion, or if you've, listened to him speak, just pull him up on YouTube, and there's, a bajillion videos of Dawkins speaking. And he really has at this base level, this really massive issue with Christianity and religion. Okay. And he really believes it's just doing so much harm to this world.
That's because they all think the earth is flat.
Well, let me put it this way, that has been his stance. Recently, like very recently, he's actually come out and said, well, maybe religion does have a place in society. Maybe
just over there.
Maybe it does have a place in kind of softening the way we interact with people and creating a morality base and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he would be the first to tell you that he believes that the God of the Bible is a sadistic, vindictive God. Okay, that's his perspective of the God of the Bible. Okay. And but what's saddened to me is that he really is not overly open to having conversations with Christians and actually learning about Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
He's made assumptions about Christianity. He's not a theologian, but he acts as if he understands all of the Christian doctrine and theology. And in one debate, Dawkins was presenting, this vindictive, sadistic, angry, warmongering God. And I love Dr. John Lennox from Oxford was debating with him, and he said, he told Dawkins, he said, the God you don't believe in, I don't believe in either.
Okay.
Because you've completely misunderstood the Christian God. And Dr. Lennox is a believer. And so I think that with the new atheist, again, there's just been this great hostility. And what I'm getting to is I think that has really been kind of the underpinning of this science versus religion debate that has really become like where they're completely at odds. Because they position it, the new atheists completely position that the two are completely at odds with one another.
Okay, so you're saying that the scientific community went from, hey, we just observe these things and we are led by science to this theory that might not mesh well with the Bible or Christianity.
Right.
To we need to use science to eradicate religion from the world.
Yeah, like I think that's been the progression over time.
Okay.
Yes. I don't think, and we have to be careful because like there's scientists who are Christians, there's scientists who are Hindus, there's scientists who are Buddhists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scientists who are Muslims. I mean, there's scientists of all levels of faith. So it doesn't mean that all scientists are atheist or agnostic. What I'm saying is with the new atheist group who are scientists, they're the ones who have really kind of banged the table saying, no, science is the truth. All of the truth claims must be rejected by whatever religion. And we simply cannot sit here and talk about science and religion together. Like they refuse, they simply believe it's just completely incompatible.
Well, there's way too many scientific theories for me to just believe in science versus my religion.
Right.
So it kind of seems like what they're really saying is you need to hate God with me.
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting.
I can't believe all of science. There's too many theories.
Yeah. And
did we come from aliens? Are we in the Matrix?
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know. And when
are there multiple universes?
Right. When Dawkins is pressed of like, how do we get here? Like, or who created the universe? I mean, like, there's not good answers. He's given various answers over time. Sometimes it's aliens.
Right.
Sometimes it's, we don't know yet. Sometimes it's, well, something came from nothing.
This has been my problem with religion, is that there's too many different answers for all this crap. And it's like, if I just, what am I going to believe in? Religion, or if my options were religion and science, it's like there's at this point there's more different science than there is different religion.
Yeah, if you're
like, yeah,
I'm following. And I think that's part of the problem that even the traditional atheists have with the new atheist. Like there's actually like they don't agree with each other, and a lot of it stems from the new atheists take theories, scientific theories, and begin to present them as scientific fact,
right?
Ignoring what's actually observable, what's actually factual,
right?
Ignoring that there could be other options.
Which, to me, looking at it, it's like if religion takes faith and presents it as fact,
yeah,
and it's like, what's the difference? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
there's no difference between any of you at this point.
In other words, what you're actually saying there is that both of them are taking leaps of faith.
Yes.
Yeah, and in fact they are, right? And was it Norman Geisler's book that where the book of he was a co-author of it. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist.
Right.
And that's just and that was just kind of a offhand statement he made. It turned into a title of this book. But like, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Like, there's actually, for him, there's more leaps that he had to make to believe in some of the scientific theories of the origin,
right,
or of how all this fine tuning actually came to being and worked in the world. It took too many leaps for him compared to Christianity, which backs itself all the way up to the existence of, if you want to get down to the smallest molecular levels, right? And the universe came from that, fine, but it's kind of like, well, but how did they get there? How did those molecules get there? And so, how did those, where did those molecules and atoms come from, right? So, like, there had to be something. And so for a Christian, it's just going that one more step.
Yeah.
Of saying there's something outside of time and space that's transcendent from time and space, outside of it.
Right.
And it actually created this. Whereas
aliens.
Or aliens. Or like Dr. Cross would say, no, something came from nothing.